listening to AchieveRadio.com. A new drummer for a new awakening.
Hi, how are you, Joseph?
Hi, Anne-Marie. I'm fine.
Good.
I hope you're doing well.
Oh, yeah, it's been raining all day here today and watching my tulips, and I was pretty
Well,
happy about the blooms. I have had some of those posted on my Facebook page, and today my dog decided to take a dump by him just as I was taking a
fertilizer.
picture. Yeah, it's like that wasn't very
Uh-huh.
sweet. But so
Well,
anyway,
it's
what's
funny. I saw the photograph of yours, the tulips by the shed or the
uh-huh.
gray garage. That looks very much like this yard here, the backyard, because the garage is gray.
Wow.
Yeah, it's newly painted gray.
Uh-huh.
It's very old. It's an old stable house garage, and
Uh-huh.
we have the same row of tulips right in front of it, right in front of the gray, the red. Yeah, red
The
tulips.
the scarlet
Very,
and maroon.
yeah, it's a very deep red, very bright. It's just totally vivid, stands out really well.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
raining here too. We have this, I think we're on the same weather pattern, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Same weather system. Yeah, because it's the
Yes,
same.
because officially, well, we're both in Central Time Zone, right?
Hmm.
And basically, I'm right next door to you.
Right.
And
Yeah, we're
both
not
of
very
us are in the
far away.
country,
Yeah, we're both in the country.
and both of us are susceptible to tornadoes.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to have a basement. It's
Yeah.
a good
I mean, I
idea.
can't. Do you have a crawl space in your basement?
We have a basement, but there's no crawl space. I'm in the basement
You're
now.
in the basement, that's right.
Yeah.
So if everybody else blows away, at least you'll be okay.
Well, there's two rooms in the basement. There's the main. I mean, this is the main area where all the work is done and stuff, and all the storage and machines and stuff. But there's two rooms that were created here before. A long time ago. I mean, they were a bedroom and an office, so that's what I use. Yeah, it works out really well. And this is my office.
Well, we have a
Yeah, but
we have a
in a tornado, I'm safe, I guess. It's an average deep basement.
uh-huh.
It's not. But I think if you live out in the country out here, especially if you're surrounded by farms where the land is very flat, there's nothing to break the winds, really. So you're more prone. We call this tornado alley. A person living out here should have a basement or some sort of a cellar that they can go into, a storm cellar of some kind. You should really have that. It's really folly to build on a slab and think that it's fine, because we had a few nearby towns just totally hit in previous years by tornadoes. And
Yeah.
out by you too, I saw your video, the twisted sculptures left behind. You see all
Oh
these
yeah.
farm structures left just totally twisted by the
If
wind.
there's any
And
farm structures there, a
if
lot of
there's any
the most
left,
of the
yes.
most crazy part. I don't know if you saw that video because I think I called it Twisted Tales. Was
Uh-huh.
when the town plumber who lived next to the retired vacationer woke up and the man's huge traveling mini camp or not mini camper, the kind that politicians will go camping in,
Oh, yeah.
was in the top of his trees.
Oh,
And he called him and he said, going camping anywhere lately? And
Oh
the guy,
God.
but they survived. They didn't have any structural other than that. But one of the things that, like for me, the tail went over the tennis court, which is at
Uh-huh.
the next to my lane, and then it proceeded. It could have done a huge amount of damage because I live in a tree tunnel lane with studio
Right.
36 steps across the street from my home, and instead it took a severe turn and blew up the trailer like a can of beans that I bought my property on now. And unfortunately, the dog was tied to the trailer, and it was not a good scene.
Oh.
It's
That
not a
is really
laughing matter,
that's very
Joseph.
frightening. I was lucky that we'd never had one in town where I lived. When I was a child, we had one that just skipped over
Mm,
the town of Lyons in Illinois. That's where I grew up. And it was just really, you luck out and you don't know why, but it's the weather is very unpredictable, and it either comes down and it doesn't. Sometimes everything else is wrecked except your house. You know, uh,
mm,
like out here, you see a lot of barns that are wrecked. You know, so
right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
now you were talking about charms, certain minerals and
Power
rocks,
stones. Well, there's two things I
power
want to cover today.
stones. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but the concept of reframing is about kind of like when you take an ugly picture
Hmm.
and then you put a beautiful frame around it,
Certainly.
uh, or just a
It changes it
normal
completely.
one of
Yeah.
those one of those pictures that um, is getting just outdated and kind of it, it just seems like a beautiful frame can
Mhm.
create such a nice change and even make something that was negative seem beautiful.
Well, even
And
sometimes going simpler can make it seem more beautiful too. Sometimes the
absolutely
frame was too ornate and it made it look too much. Like maybe if you had a period piece that the frames always seemed inappropriate, even though it was the original frame, or
correct.
something like
And
that. Yeah.
so the concept of reframing is often used in hypnotherapy.
Hmm.
I took a transpersonal hypnotherapy course, and one of the things that they describe is when you're putting someone into a relaxed state and then take them back to the time when they were experiencing a negative situation.
Hmm.
And then um, first of all, they say help them to have power tools or power objects that help them to be secure in situations. Which one thing I knew that you are pretty knowledgeable about power stones and power tools or
Hmm.
power tools meaning um,
Power
powerful.
tools.
Yeah, power tool, not power
Electric
tools.
screwdrivers really
No,
work
no, 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 no.
very
No,
handy.
psychic, psychic stones, or even
Oh, well,
something like a comfortable object.
I did pick out charms for myself at some point, and actually I wanted someone to get me a charm or to make me a charm, and they said, actually, you need to just pick one out yourself. I said, well, how do I do that? And they said, well, you go with the one that catches your attention, and then go by the one that feels the best. Hold it in your hands and see how it makes you feel. You know, And
Hmm.
so it didn't matter. Actually, my charms have been anything from a clay bead that somebody made or mass produced somehow, or actual stones, that had holes drilled in them. I like turquoise, but probably because I like the color. And
Hmm.
actually, that's supposed to be kind of the color of my aura, supposedly. That was what I was told by someone who could see them. I believe it at the time,
Uh-huh.
I'm sure. And but I've always liked that look, and I recommend maybe picking out your birthstone. Of course, in some cases it's kind of hard. Mine is a pearl.
What is yours?
It's pearl because I'm in June.
Pearl.
You know, yeah,
So,
and it's like pearl. Oh, what? You know, I
well,
don't
no,
have a
I
simple
don't know
string of
what
pearls
pearl
I could
is.
wear. Yeah, but
I know mine is
it's either
no.
pearl or it's something else that's multicolored. You know, because it's within that Gemini thing. So it's something that usually shows a lot of color. Traditionally, it's pearl. Lately, it's been pearl and something else. I can't think of the name. And I'm sorry, what was yours?
I'm the Yellowstone, the one that they trapped the little mosquitoes in for Jurassic Park.
Oh,
Uh,
amber.
Amber. Yeah, because
Okay, so that's
I'm
another.
Scorpio, and that's the
That's
amber.
another. It's like it's a sap. It's sap from the tree, is what it
It is.
is.
It is, but it's also, for
Yeah,
some reason, considered to be I guess
it's a.
minerals, a mineral.
It's considered to
Uh,
be a gem. I think. You
yeah,
know, I think I've
yeah.
seen it as a. It, actually, amber is great. If you could find amber is wonderful, especially if it has any, you know, ancient insects or debris from the time period. You know, it makes it special because whatever's in there is very very old. You know,
Right.
very ancient.
Well, there's
So
a few stones I believe that
mhm.
the not the ones that are obvious, like
Crystals,
is
quartz. You know,
crystals, and each
yeah.
crystal, rose crystal, and all those have different
Absolutely.
properties
Yeah,
to them.
I just carry a simple blank one, but it's actually rather large. I carry it around. I need a
Is
big
it
crystal.
large?
Yeah, it's I don't have actually remarkably I'm talking about it and how I carry it around and I don't know where it is. But I suppose these things do find you if you need them. Um,
Yes.
that's why I don't worry about lost charms or lost crystals. They always turn up, you know. Because there are things you're going to find in your house, and so I always figure if you lost it and never see it again, well then maybe it's because you no longer need that particular kind. So
Well,
there's always
that's a
some.
good concept.
Yeah. Hmm.
There's a few stones that, like amethyst, are supposed to be very good for
That's the other one.
visions,
Yeah.
psychic stone.
Yep.
Um, the
Spiritual
emerald,
qualities. Yeah.
the emerald is thought to block spells.
Hmm.
Um, uh, there are so many that I can't even pronounce
Yeah.
that it's
That's why
like
when you
you.
called me the expert, I thought, oh my, was I supposed to be the expert on it? No, but actually, I have purchased these things and I had gotten interested in it. Oh, when another psychic had introduced me to it when I was a teenager and gave me a charm, which I had lost. And, and that was the explanation I received about lost charms. It's like, well, if you find another one, then it's time for a change. And if you just can't find another one and you never see this one again, you probably don't need charms. you know.
Well,
And
I've
actually, they're not
always.
really, they are things that perform a certain function. And I believe it's more of a cleansing of energies, especially if you're using a crystal. And I do think that since we are basically electromagnetic in some way, and in many ways we're electric beings. The psyche and our brains act. We everything operates with electricity of some kind. I do think that the elements in these things actually do make a difference on even a more physical level, not just spiritual. I do think that they do have an effect on your body because there's, like, say, if you're wearing a magnet, it's going to pull anything that's magnetic, it's going to pull towards the magnet. So I do think that just as that's an example of how we're affected, our minerals in the body. Yeah.
I used to have problems with watches not working. And
Mm.
now I'm having a problem with, once I put a Fitbit on,
Yeah.
they work perfectly, and then within 2 weeks they're jumping ahead, and they're double stepping, and they're double telling the time. It never, and then I reset it, and then within 2 weeks it's
Uh,
jumping ahead again. And it had, the same thing happened with watches. So that just says to me I'm way ahead of myself, and I guess my old additional dimension disorder is. But the two stones that have always followed me all my life are opals and
uh,
moonstones. And when
okay.
I was little, I used to get in my mother's jewelry box at nap time, and she would have opals, and I had to have those opals in my hand.
Well,
And
they're special to hold, yeah, especially
yeah,
at
they're,
that age. Yeah.
and now they say that the opals represent the gift of prophecy.
Wow.
And the other thing is moonstones, which my great grandmother had a moonstone, and then I've been attracted to moonstones. Not the fancy new kind. The
Right.
old kind of moonstone looks like the moon actually rose the stone up out of the middle.
Yeah.
And they're like, and moonstones represent fortune telling, the future, and the third eye. So between Fitbits and clocks that jump ahead,
Yeah.
and opals and moonstones that seem to find me wherever I go, it just seems like, I definitely must be in the business I am, because it's found me.
I can't wear timepieces. They only work for a short time, and that's all of them. The wind ups, they're not overwound. You know, I've never been abusive with them. And they just eventually they just stop working. And if it's battery, usually I don't buy those, but you know, sometimes I get them. You know, and the battery soon runs out. It's usually fine until that first battery runs out, and then if I get a replacement, I find out it's one that I have to order special because it's a rare size,
Mm.
which
Yeah,
already is like, oh, this is convenient. And then when you get it, you don't know how old that battery is, you know, to start with. Um,
right.
and so then it runs out after about a week, and you go, I just go forget it. And I went through that with my father's watch. After he died, I kept that, and it was his old watch for dress up. Not an expensive watch, just a Timex or something, but it was gold colored. And that thing, I had to order the battery again. It was special. It wasn't just something I could get at a local place. And and it worked for one day. And it didn't,
Oh,
you
and it
know, and
worked
I
for your
thought,
dad all
well,
his life.
I just keep it in a box. I can't, you know, but it must be me and timepieces. And then the same thing with my cell phone. You know, that's why I don't want to upgrade to a smartphone, because I'm thinking, well, I already have problems with my batteries always running out really fast, and just not getting service and all sorts of odd things. And then because it's a timepiece, also, I don't bother wearing a watch. I haven't worn a watch in a long time.
Well, you don't
That thing
have to
is
anymore now. Cell phones all tell
right.
the
You could,
time,
I
and
mean, it's dumb to
whether
have a
they're
pocket
simple or whether
watch.
they're the old
Right.
kind, they still, uh,
It's still
you
a
know,
problem, you know. So I figure, well, I give up, you know. I just look at
mm,
I look at the clock on the wall, and that's about it. So I don't try to wear a watch at all. Actually, I don't wear any jewelry much. I mean, I used to wear an earring, but that's it. I mean,
I have noticed that as I start
uh,
to make more and more spirituality and psychic reading my
right.
living in life, I begin to notice that if I wear metal or
Mhm.
crystals, I start to vibrate. I mean, I can
Yeah.
literally feel this inside me, and it's almost as if it becomes so irritating, and so I notice that if I wear metal to bed, I cannot
Mhm.
sleep, because it's almost as if it's attracting um,
Yeah.
energy and
Um,
dreams, or entities. And if I, it sounds so goofy, doesn't it? But it's
yeah.
true. I just vibrate inside
Well,
to the most unpleasant way that I have really. If I'm going
Yeah.
somewhere, I can wear it for a short time, a piece of jewelry, but usually I'm at the point where the more powerful the stone, the more powerful the crystal, the more sturdy the metal is, I have to leave it alone.
I had one I had to stop wearing altogether, and
Oh,
it was
yeah.
well, it was cool because it was something handmade. I bought it at a medieval fair, and they were
Uh-huh.
they were small faces
Oh, cool.
that were made out of like raw porcelain. You know, it was like rough porcelain. It was porcelain fired and then fired again, you know, to seal it up. But it wasn't glazed. It was just very, very earthy. And they looked like they were beads that were pressed into a face mold of some kind. And
Oh,
these porcelain faces seem to be a trend in that particular time period, along with
oh,
those type of
almost like
Renaissance
masks,
festivals.
or
Yes,
like the
but
like
you
the
even
Vienna
saw
masks.
figures. You saw figures and stuff with almost the same type of face. You know, you see that. So it was interesting. I wore this for a long time until I had cut myself somehow. I think shaving, and I had gotten some blood
Oh,
on these things.
not good.
Well, it was just kind of a weird thing, and I know it washed off okay and stuff. But it seemed ever since then, um, I would have nightmares about these faces and stuff,
Oh
and it was
no, so
just
they really
really,
became
yeah.
a
So I just
part
took them
of.
off and I put them away. And actually, it was something kind of weird because everybody liked that thing. You know, they would like, "Oh, I want to steal that." You know, it was just like, well, maybe I should have just given it to them. But actually, I just put it away, and I have no idea what happened to it. I don't remember ever getting rid of it. I just know I put it in a drawer somewhere at home when when I was living at home with my folks many, many years ago. Um,
It
I
went
have
away
no
to the
idea.
face world.
Yeah, I think sometimes
I,
things
I
just
want to
kind of
say hello to
disappear.
some of the people in Inquick. Again, if you
Okay.
want to have a reading, please call 602 666 6027. That's 602 666
Yeah.
6027. Or we will be happy to read for you, um, you know, with. In quick as well. So we have today Jan,
Hi,
and
Jan.
we have Susan so far, and we have Lena, and we have Patrick, and we have Belinda, and that's Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, New York, and Tennessee, and
Wow. So who's
that's what we
first?
have. So we
Who would
have
you
a
like to
lot
do
in quick,
first?
and thank you and very much. And remember, we do love to have you call in as well. So I want to say one thing before we go into,
Okay.
and again, it's going back into reframing with tarot.
Uh-huh.
I want to read this very short article, and it says Reframing Heartbreak, Getting Over a Breakup with Tarot. And it says, has a breakup ever sent your world into a tailspin? When you're not expecting a relationship to end, you can find yourself struggling to understand why things went south. And the tarot offers one way to help you put the pieces together and reframe the situation. It can even reveal aspects of a situation that might totally change your mind about the relationship. It won't make the pain go away, but it can help you to get on with your life. Now, I want to add something here. Um,
Hmm.
how do you feel about reading tarot for yourself?
I've tried to do it many times over the years. I have mixed results with that. It's difficult when you're in the inside trying to give yourself a reading because you have, for me rather, it's hard to keep my personal bias out of it. It's hard to keep out of it. That's why a lot of times we even just talk to somebody else so that they can hear it and then have a completely outsider's viewpoint, which many times that's what we need. I mean, I still feel like an outsider when I'm reading somebody's cards because, I don't have their life and I'm not looking at their cards from their point of view. I'm a stranger looking at the situation. That's what makes it easier for me to read for somebody else. I usually need to have somebody else do my cards for me in order to get a decent reading for myself.
It is
You
my
know,
experience, and I've had people, there's the people that say, "Ah, I don't need anybody to read my cards. I can read them for myself." The same people that usually go to flea markets and say, I don't have to buy that beautiful object. I can make one myself, and
yeah.
then they go home and they never do. Or
But
they,
do they? Right.
or
But do
they, but
they?
but the
Uh,
funny thing about tarot is that oftentimes it picks up your inner chatter
hmm
and those negative voices that are going on within yourself. The other
Yeah.
thing about reading tarot for yourself is how easy it is to keep asking the same question in different ways till you get the right answer you want.
hmm
Which is so one of the reasons why do is it better to get a reading from someone else that is skilled and professional is because they are removed from your inner chatter, your inner negative voices, and they can reframe a situation that you keep seeing one way and
Yeah.
magically reframe it so that you can see without being inside so close that you can't see the truth.
hmm You can't
And
see the
that's
forest
and that
forest
is
trees or for the trees.
right. And
Yeah.
that's why
Well,
tarot is
that's
good. And that's why
yeah.
reading others, having others read that are not so close to your inner chatter, um,
Right.
is a better way to reframe your negative view or even your denial, because
Uh-huh.
denial can make us keep asking a question over and over with tarot, and professional readers do it for themselves
Yeah.
as well. It's called being human. We like to lie
Yeah.
to ourselves.
Yeah. Well, it's the way people see. I mean, it's not a deliberate lie or a deliberate.
No, no.
It's more like the way. I mean, we all have our own truths in the way that we see things, and you can have this members of the same family having a different viewpoint about, say, a parent or even the home in general. I mean, there are things that I've heard from my own siblings, and I thought, wow, what planet were you on? How could you have gotten that wrong? I saw the whole thing, and I remember things pretty well. But then again, that's what I think. That's how
Right.
I
And
saw it.
so when
It's not
you
so much the way it really. I mean, who knows? I mean, the only way you're going to really know objectively is to have a camera present, and even then, it's still it's only showing you the superficial, factual event. But of course, there's a whole. I mean, these things don't even, like say, these moments of our lives that are actually very brief. Boy, we can carry them out and extend them and make that memory really long. And it was only like about maybe a 10-minute conversation that we just give life to for many, many, many years and get mileage out of it. You may as well pick a really nice memory that makes you happy
right, right.
than
Well,
something
and
that's going to piss you
that's why
off.
when we are in love or
Oh
desperately
yeah.
hanging on to a relationship, we turn it in so much into what we want it to be and
Oh yeah.
put this amazing frame around it until the day comes when we all of a sudden the frame falls off.
And we
And it's like
realize it's just a frame that we made, and we're like, shit.
Yeah, that was just a big
Look what
crap
I just
pile,
wasn't
wasn't it?
seeing you. I
I
wasn't
should have
seeing
been
you
putting
right
little
at
pieces
all.
of poop around it instead.
Right,
You know,
right.
my sense is that reframing into reality a
Yeah,
situation that we're infatuated with often doesn't happen until years later or months
right.
definitely later.
It takes a while to train that other person, it really does. You have to
Yeah,
really
for
break them.
ourselves. And that's why tarot is so good at reframing a brokenhearted situation or a situation concerning a work dispute. It reframes what you see into a less personal way that is less. We're not going to pick up your inner chatter. We're not going to give you the glowy denial picture. We're going to
Right.
pick up what comes up energetically and put the frame around it of reality that we see. But now, of course, you always have free will, and your future is always changeable according to your wise actions.
Yeah.
So, why don't we get to some of these readings?
All right. Who do you want? Who do you want? Who's next?
The first, we're going to start with Susan from Massachusetts. My finances are dwindling, so I'm interested in a financial reading to see how things will go the next 3 months. Perhaps more will come in than go out. Lots of love, blessings, and this is from Susan. Finances in the next 3 months, or
Wow.
anything that comes through.
Well, it's funny because I picked up the Two of Swords reversed for the outcome. And basically, I see it being about, I'm seeing a partnership that balances out her finances. I see that since it's a two, I'm saying it's most likely within the next, like, say, time period wise, anywhere from 2 days to 2 months, or maybe over the next 2 years if you're going to, no, but your question wasn't about long term. So I'd say within 2 months, you should be having everything balanced because of a partnership that is making it work out easier for you. And this isn't always a partnership. This could be a professional one. And since this is about finances, I'm guessing it is probably someone that's going to be managing your money or someone that you're working with, you know, financially, or, someone you've hired, to, like, an accountant or something. They're going to make everything balance out for you. That's what I see. You're likely to be working with this person um, in the future, even further on, because you're happy with how they handle it. So that's how I see it working out. What do you think, Anne Marie?
Well, interestingly, I did 2 readings while you were talking, and
Yeah, time.
one reading came up with be honest with yourself. What are you doing with your finances that may be self sabotaging you? Your reading says also to remember that it's important to practice what you preach. Now, what does that mean? Well, it just basically means that if you have the ability to reach your desired financial goals, be honest with yourself. What are you doing with your finances right now that self sabotages? And you know without a doubt that it isn't what you know you should do, but you do it anyway. So both I see, and then the second reading that I looked at, and I will agree with you, Joseph. That is seen in May and June.
Yeah, she'll be
Um,
working with somebody on this. Yeah.
and then the other reading said honesty was upside down, which says you are not being honest with yourself.
Hmm.
And it said, you are poor because you have been doing something financially that is self destructive. and I don't know what that is, but it
Hmm.
says the same thing in two readings, one being honest, be honest with yourself and practice what you preach. The other one saying you are not being honest with yourself and you are not doing what you know you should with your money. But the other thing
Yeah.
comes up is that at the end of the second month, a magnetic turn in your life happens. And it also says, whatever you do, don't continue to self sabotage yourself when this wonderful opportunity for financial gain happens, which means if you have a chance to correct the drama in your life and the financial has a chance to clear up, be it a relationship or be it a special new job or whatever it is, don't find that you have become comfortable with drama and being financially poor to the point
Choose your
where,
battles.
yeah, choose your battles. Very
Yeah,
good.
don't get yourself into anything worked up over something that really isn't all that important, or to make a point, or ego, or because of the way it made you feel. I mean, it's like you have to think like, do we really need to be talking about this or arguing about this? It's save your energy for things where it's like really dire, where you need to, you know, fight for it. But really, save your energy so that you can fight for this, and don't waste your energy blowing it with BS arguments and stuff. You know how that can.
Not only
People
not
get
only that,
people get
not o-
emotional. They're complex. It happens. You might think, "Oh, I'm gonna watch out for that," and all of a sudden you find yourself having like a Jerry Springer moment. That it's like, whoa, you know.
I would say not only that, but
Yeah.
sometimes we find ourselves attracting friends or even relationships that we are actually hurting ourselves with. Like, for instance, being in relationships with people and with even people that we are attracted to, and investing too much into suddenly a wardrobe to be appealing. Or to find ourselves suddenly giving money away that we shouldn't be, simply to be able to keep a certain kind of person around us. However, this doesn't seem to be the case at the end of 2 months, but I see that for whatever reason, this seems to be a situation that could really clear your life up. So don't find that because you have a chance to be in a healthy relationship or healthy friendships, whatever it is, or maybe a healthy job, don't shoot it down. Don't shoot it down and self-sabotage when you have the chance to fix your situation. And that's what I have, Susan.
Yeah, you give of yourself, be a little more generous, not of money, but more or less of time and attention. And that's how we nurture our friendships, is that we give people more than what they can buy. We give them attention, and that's really, just allow yourself to be available, to open up to people, because actually it makes life a lot more fun when you got some friends to hang with, or even someone to share ideas with about your financial situation. That's how we all
Or
learn things.
so I would say
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
reframe the way you looked at the way you spent money,
Mm-hmm.
and reframe it into, if I begin to start to spend less money to try to attract men or friends or unnecessary spending, that I need to reframe that and see that as something that hurts me rather than helps me. And
Mm-hmm.
that consequently, choosing a different way of looking at it makes settling for less unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
And exactly what you said. Okay,
Well,
let's.
people in general have been kind of feeling the urge to spend money in the past couple of weeks. I think it's probably because of winter ending. I felt the urge to buy things online,
Oh,
actually. I mean, because I always look for organics and I can't find in the store. And it's like, you have to really watch that. Really watch it. Don't ever spend more than what you can't cover with your cash, you know. So really don't take risks on don't buy things. I mean, credit cards are really meant to be convenient ways of exchanging money, not for substituting for money that you if you can't afford it in cash, you can't afford it at all. And that's the way you have to
Well,
look at your
or look at it this
finances.
way.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah.
at it this way. As to people who are not rich, um,
Hmm. Yeah, like
you know,
us. We're not rich.
I used to do impulse buying. I used to see something that I would get right away. And now I let it sit. And if it disappears the next day on the internet, I know I was never meant to have it. And
Mm.
I also gives me a chance to reframe it or put different perspective on it. Did I really need that object or should I just let it go?
How about those cool catalogs you get with all those neat household gadgets in it and stuff? And, you know, all these cool little things, you know, like embroidered ottomans and stuff to open up and all these great little
Oh my
dainty
God, I
home
could never
items.
begin to afford
Very
that.
good ideas. And I used to sit there and I would fill out the order blank very
Oh yeah.
carefully. I'd fill it out, I'd leave it on the table, and next day I'd take it and throw it away.
I like that. That's what I have learned to do as well. It
Yeah.
feels like you're buying it. You can even
Yeah.
sit daydream about how it's going to look in your house.
Well,
Leave it on the
sometimes
table and just
I would
ignore
like
it.
to just look at it. I don't think I actually want to own it. I just want to look at it.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I
maybe I
I
don't
have
have
come
to
to that
buy. I can
same
just go
kind
to the
of
store,
discipline.
treat the store like it's a museum, and that you're just there to look at displays.
Right.
Although I did buy my KitchenAid because it's my favorite mixer, it's my favorite tool in the kitchen. It's all motor. It's a mega home machine for domestic. But I'll tell you, I really do like it. It's the
Did you
best
get it?
mixer I ever had, best appliance I ever owned. And they're not
Huh.
paying me to say it. My God, I'm giving them a commercial for free.
Yes, I'm going to
Uh,
have to put that on. Okay, we've got Jan from LA.
Hi,
She
Jean.
would like to have an angel reading. Thank you.
Angel reading. Wow. An angel reading for Jan. I don't think I've ever done one of those. But let's
Reading,
see what
I believe
happens.
an
Let's
angel
see what
reading
happens.
is something that tunes into the blessings rather than negativities of someone's life.
Okay. Well, I do see at the present time that she is in a forward moving motion, and she is, what we have here is the, the chariot, and it's in its upright position. And the chariot means that whatever you have going on, you have a lot of energy and it's being directed. You're directing your energy at a goal, and I do see that you're likely to achieve it because it's you're moving forward. And what I am seeing in the near future, this is probably part of your goal, perhaps, but I have the sun that comes up in your reading, and that's your goal. I'm seeing is like maybe you have this goal to be free for a while. Maybe you're working on maybe a plan to retire or do something different, like take a vacation and experience something different. Maybe you're planning a trip, but I'm seeing that this is going to go very well for you. Um, it seems like you're going to be able to afford it, and it seems like you're really focused, and I see you accomplishing this feeling of freedom and or doing this different thing. Now, I'm not sure what angel is the one that is for creativity. I'm not, or for new things, or for this forward motion. Maybe Anne Marie knows a bit more
I
about
think
the actual
angels
angels.
My feeling is angels are higher beings of frequency
Yeah.
from they don't necessarily have to have names. Angels
Okay.
are the higher beings of light that are there to give us unconditional love and
They appear
support.
to be working in your favor, Jan. I mean, I see that this is all, whatever you have planned, this is all going to, I mean, if you keep keep going at what you're doing. Stay on your path, and I see that you're doing it. Whatever it is, I see you
Mm-hmm.
accomplishing this feeling. And whether it's if the angels are helping you do it, then well, my goodness, that's great because yeah, it's all
Another
good energy. It's like high energy, but it's all directed. It's not scattered. It's actually has a goal. Yeah.
I would add to that that the first thing that comes up is that your angels seem to be and have directed you towards a more positive way of looking at yourself and looking at the universe.
Yeah, she used to be off balance in the past. I mean, you were kind of like someone was. I mean, it was like
And
someone pulled a fast one on you or something. But you were kind
mhm.
of like having a bad time before, or just not as you weren't as well adjusted spiritually or emotionally as you are now. Okay,
and
I'm
your
done. I
and
just
your
wanted to add
reading
that part.
and
Yeah.
and your reading says that your angels are also proud of you for being more honest with yourself, as
Hmm.
well as not being afraid to speak out more about your feelings to others. One of the things that comes up is how incredibly honest you are becoming. You really have changed the outlook and the way you see life in a positive way. And your angel reading says that you have learned that you have no right to criticize others if you can't walk your own talk. And I think that's made you more patient, and it's made you more um, able to see the world with soft eyes.
She's really. You've really grown. I take it.
Yes,
Yeah.
hugely,
Yeah.
hugely.
That's
So I would
wonderful.
say, all in all, your angels are being more supportive of you because you have
Hmm.
been tuning in. Now, I want to say, how do we know how our angels are speaking to us? I always say you don't have to take $1,000 course. Remember, I always say focus on two things. When your angels are positively influencing your opinion or your choices, you'll get a
Hmm.
champagne bubbly feeling of very magnetic feeling of positive, just that
Hmm.
feeling of positive vibration. When
Yeah.
you are in a situation where your angels are saying run or don't do it, you're going to become very heavy in your feet.
Hmm.
Sometimes you have explosive diarrhea. If you're not listening to your angels will force you to listen. And
Hmm.
sometimes it comes in the most horrible ways. Like I said, it can happen in belly aches, headaches, diarrhea. It can also, and I'm not saying that if you're having those things, you should
Hmm.
go see a doctor. But if you aren't listening to your intuition, if you're not listening to your gut and your intuition and your angels, it's going to force you in the most horrible ways. So
Yeah. Yeah.
good job. You're doing a great job, Jan.
Absolutely.
We have 7 minutes, and
My.
we have Pat from California. My
Yeah.
disabled son's college account and email has been hacked, and the school denies it. I remember this question a long time ago. Also, a teacher verbally assaulted him in a lab, and the teacher is also denying it. So, my son's credibility is being attacked for all issues reported. Should we hire professional hacker to find how it's being done? I remember you having this problem a long time ago, Pat. Is it still
Really.
happening? So I guess I would say um, I don't know how your disabled son's uh, being affected, but what do you have to say about this, Joseph?
Oh, that's interesting. What I pulled up here is the Page of Swords in the for the near future, for the outcome, and it's sort of, it could stand for an actual person, but it's usually indicates a young man if it's about a man, but but it also means that perhaps that you're maybe this will blow over, and that maybe you should take it slow. I'm seeing here that maybe someone's being pushed too hard or being pushed too fast, or maybe you're stepping on somebody's toes. I'm not really quite sure who's involved in this, but I am seeing that there's a young man involved. It might be your hacker, but of course we don't know who that would be. Um, but I am seeing that you need to be cautious, though. I mean, don't go. You need to work on this in a careful way, and not to get all full blown, like Mission Impossible over it. That's how I'm seeing as this message to you from the cards. That's how it's turning out. What do you think, Anne Marie?
I think sometimes when something has been happening for a long time and we find that it does not correct itself, it can be an indication that we're walking down the wrong path. One of the things I'm shown is that I don't know whether it's you or your son, but it says one of you is extremely sensitive, and there is a sense that your son um, actually has quite a bit of strengths in him, but there's this sense that you have become such a warrior for him. You have become so um, worried for him that it's almost helping him to be seeing himself as a victim. And your reading says that perhaps instead of trying things that put him in the path of people that hack him or people that harm him, perhaps this is an indication, if it's been happening for a long time, that
Hmm.
that you need to change his path into a whole different direction. And maybe this is more about you than it is about your son. Because I feel that right now, by having him in situations so vulnerable, that perhaps he needs to be removed from those situations and put into situations where he feels more comfortable and safer.
I'm seeing that currently what we have here is the tower inverted. It's reversal of the tower. And the tower, it generally means that there's some people that around you, and even yourself, there's a great deal of stress. I mean, like a lot of stress. And basically, um, don't don't involve yourself so much with the conflict. Um, be very critical before taking actions and talking. Apparently, either you or your child is under a great deal of stress. You probably both are, and actually, you just need to step back and actually understand too that people are going through changes right now, and they're going through changes um, that are going to change just the way things are. Not exactly horrible changes. They don't have to be, but things are just going through some different changes. So your child is also going through some personality changes, through growing, and that happens often. Seems like we don't know them, you know.
I would say if a situation is creating more insecurity in a
Hmm.
lifestyle disability than he already has to bear and put up with, that
Right.
perhaps you would be doing him a service to get him out of such attack, not necessarily by running to see what you can do to fight the battle for him, but instead he has many blessings and gifts, and I show has even an ability to make money in this world and be empowered. I would say get him out of whatever it is that's putting him in such
Yeah.
jeopardy and send him in a new direction where he's more protected and safer,
Yeah.
and he'll be able to blossom. This is not helping him
Yeah.
to blossom.
Yeah. And if you're being hacked, if he's being hacked, I'd say, yeah, well, hire a professional to try to unhack yourself, because that's hard to do by yourself if you don't have the technical
Oh, yeah.
know-how. Take care of that, and then get out of this whatever situation is causing this. I mean, because you don't want to keep getting hacked all the time. And you also don't want to keep creating stress for this boy, for this
Or
child.
bullying.
Yeah. Or bullying.
All right, we gotta go, Joseph, and thank you so
Okay.
much. And
Thank you. It's been fun.
yes, and hopefully we'll see you next week too, maybe.
Oh, that'd be great. I'd love to come back. Sure.
All right. Come back with us
Thank
next
you.
week. We love having you here.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Psychic Radio.